The date is the 18th of June 1942. In the heart of Berlin, the air inside the Reich Chancellery is a choking fog of pulverized plaster and acrid smoke. A jagged wound in the ceiling marks where a Hellfire missile, a bolt from a future century, met the stone of the old world. In the center of the wreckage, a young assistant lies in the stillness of death, but Adolf Hitler stands 5 feet away, a ghost covered in white dust, untouched by the fire. He looks at his trembling hands, then upward at the stars through the hole in his fortress, and begins to laugh, a high, manic sound that echoes with a terrifying new conviction.
Do you see? The gods of the Pacific have fired their bolt, and it has shattered at my feet. I am the chosen one. Their magic cannot touch the destiny of the Aryan soul.
He steps over the broken body of his staff, moving onto the balcony with the stride of a man who believes he has conquered death itself. Below him, Berlin waits in the dark, ready to be told that their leader is no longer a man, but an immortal. Thousands of miles away, the bridge of the USS Gerald R. Ford is a tomb of clinical silence. There is no judgment among the 26 sailors. Only the cold blue glow of monitors displaying a mission failed notification. Burke stares at the screen, his expression as unyielding as the steel hull surrounding him.
Admiral, confirmation. The target moved 30 seconds before impact. We neutralized a secondary staff member. Hitler is unharmed and currently addressing his guard. He's calling it a miracle of the House of Brandenburg.
Technology creates its own myths when it fails. If he thinks he's divine, he'll stop hiding. That's a tactical advantage for us. Is the USS Montana in position?
The Virginia-class sub is sitting 2 miles off the coast of occupied France. They're running Silent Ultra. The Germans don't even know they're in the water.
Signal SEAL Team 10. Tell them the scalpel failed. It's time for the razor.
In the choppy, black expanse of the English Channel, the USS Montana breaks the surface like a prehistoric predator, a dark slick of water sliding off its sail. 6 shadows in Night Ghost tactical suits emerge, slipping into the freezing depths without a single bubble. These men are phantoms of 2026, equipped with thermal dampening suits and suppressed weapons that appear to be forged from a fever dream. Through the team leader's HUD, the world is a vibrant, neon green, populated by digital markers that track the pulse of the German coastal defenses.
Command, we are feet dry, moving to the rail line.
Copy, Vox. Your objective is the America, Hitler's personal armored train. He's moving toward the coast to inspect the immortal Atlantic Wall.
The America thunders through the French countryside, a steam-belching fortress of iron and AA guns that screams through the night. It is a symbol of the Reich's industrial might, but on the ridge above, it is merely a target. The SEALs are invisible, part of the midnight shadows, watching the locomotive approach with the patience of the grave.
Kill the lights.
As the train plunges into a tunnel, the SEALs drop from the ceiling, landing on the moving cars with a fluid, terrifying grace. A rear guard catches a glimpse of a shadow with glowing green eyes, a monster from a future he will never see, before a suppressed round silences him forever.
If they capture him, Admiral?
They won't capture him. I don't want a martyr. I want the world to see that their God King died in the dark, in the mud, crying for a future he couldn't stop.
And the SEALs? If they get stranded in 1942 Germany?
They have their orders. If the extraction fails, they ensure the technology doesn't fall into 20th century hands. They've already said their goodbyes to 2026, just like we did. Remember, this time period is all of ours now. There is no going back to 2026 unless we live for another 80 years.
On the monitor, a gloved hand reaches out, gripping the handle to Hitler's private carriage. The future has arrived at the door. Inside the private carriage of the America, the air is heavy with the scent of expensive tobacco and the rhythmic chug of coal smoke. Adolf Hitler is a silhouette of the old world, hunched over maps of a war he has already lost. Unaware of the phantom standing in his doorway, Operator Vaux watches through a thermal HUD that paints the room in shades of cold blue, highlighting the target's heart with clinical precision. He doesn't pull the trigger. Instead, he produces a device that shouldn't exist for 80 years, a special atomic demolition munition. With the indifference of a man disposing of a pest, he magnetically lost the device beneath the heavy oak table before the seals vanish into the mountain mist.
Target confirmed. The little corporal is in the room. Device is active. Timer set for the tunnel pass at St. Benoit.
The America winds through the jagged teeth of the Vosges Mountains, a desolate, snowy landscape miles from the nearest witness. From a ridge 5 miles distant, the SEAL team watches through high-powered optics, waiting for the clock to strike 0.
3, 2, 1.
There is no immediate roar, only a flash of violet-white light that turns the midnight snow into a blinding noon, channeled by the deep valley. The shockwave is a physical force that doesn't just derail the train, it erases it. Steel, steam, and stone are instantly converted into a superheated plasma cloud. A small, symmetrical mushroom cloud rises between the peaks, casting long, eerie shadows across a French countryside that just felt the first breath of a new, terrifying sun. In the Admiral's ready room, the infrared map displays a single, cauterized black spot where the America once thundered. Burke rubs his jaw, watching the satellite confirmation of a successful decapitation. But the expected silence of a defeated nation is shattered by a broadcast fueled by a new, hysterical fanaticism.
Confirmed. Adolf Hitler is a ghost.
Berlin is in a state of total communication blackout. We've decapitated the Reich, who should be seeing white flags from every embassy by dawn.
Admiral, we are picking up a broadcast. It's not a surrender.
The immortal Führer has ascended. The American demons have used the fire of the underworld to steal his body, but they cannot steal his spirit. Every German man, woman, and child is now a soldier of the Ragnarok. If the world is to end, we shall be the ones to burn it.
They're not quitting. They're turning his death into a religious war. The generals who wanted to surrender have been executed by the SS. Berlin is doubling down.
Burke walks onto the bridge, his mouth a thin, hard line of frustration. For the first time, the calculated math of 2026 has failed to account for the irrational desperation of 1942. His crew watches him, waiting for the man who promised a clean future to respond to a world that has chosen the mud.
I gave them a clean death. I gave them a godlike warning, and they're still choosing the mud. What about the others, the Americans, the Japanese?
They're waiting to see what we do about Germany. If Berlin successfully resists us, even as a suicide cult, the Pax Americana becomes a joke. Japan is already stalling on the peace treaty.
They think I'm playing a game of chess. They think they can win by being more willing to die than I am.
At dawn, Burke stands on the edge of the flight deck, the salt spray whipping against his uniform as he stares at the rising Pacific sun. The time for ghosts and shadows has passed.
Reed, get the keys from the brig. Bring the American sailor and the Japanese pilot to my quarters.
What are you planning, Admiral?
I'm tired of being a ghost. If they won't bow to the fire, they'll bow to the iron. We're moving the entire strike group. We're going to Berlin.
The USS Ford begins its massive, slow-motion turn, its propellers churning the Pacific into a white fury. The destroyers bank into position, forming a spearhead of impossible technology. The most powerful fleet in human history is no longer hiding. It is heading for Europe.